So, hi everyone. Today we have a special guest on our channel. We have Krishna with us. So, Krishna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I am Krishna. Thanks Ashish for giving me this opportunity. I am a recent graduate from PES University Bangalore and currently I'm working as a software engineer at Visa. So yeah, that's about me.
Right. And like she said, she's working as a SD at Visa. So, we'll be getting to know her journey of how she cracked Visa, what was her interview experience, her strategy, everything in between. So, Krishna, start us off with your interview experience. What all rounds were there? What all happened?
So starting off with there were four rounds. The first round was online assessment, and the online assessment had three questions. The three questions, I think one of them was easy and two were medium hard. And mostly Visa focuses on data structures only, unlike compared to companies who
Okay.
also focus on competitive programming. But this was completely DSA, and the questions are based on arrays and hash map, and the third question was I think stacks and queues. So it was I was able to solve like two and a half questions. And if you are good with DSA and thorough with the lead code questions, then I'm sure the online assessment is pretty crackable by anyone. And then after the OA, they invited for the interview, and we had three rounds back to back. So it was one full day packed, and we had three rounds. The first round, starting off with, it was depending on person to person. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it was a very high level colleague who actually did not really ask a lot of coding problems. She looked into my resume and asked me resume based problems. So, there I would say that you need to be really thorough with your resume, and every single thing that you write, you need to know what you did there. So, you don't have any silences in the interview. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, what have I done here? So, I think you should be really thorough in your resume. That was one thing that she tested me on. And secondly, she asked me a few SQL questions. So usually it's like a DSA stuff, but over here she asked me SQL. She asked me, oops, like object oriented programming. So I think you also need to be thorough with your subjects like operating system, computer networks, uh, and stuff like that. So that is also something that could be asked. Apart from that, yeah, since she was very high level, she did not ask me DSA. So my first round went very peaceful, and I was really stressed if it was because she was just not interested or something. But it was nothing like that. Everyone had a different kind of first round. Some of them had DSA questions asked, some of them didn't. So moving on. So after the first round, they let us know within like half an hour if you're going to go to the second round or not. And I was getting into the second round, and my interviewer was someone who was a React developer, and my resume had a lot of projects in React, so that was a plus for me. He started off with the React questions, and in React questions, he mostly went on to basics, like if I know what are components, how is the React hooks used, and all of that. So that was good for me as well because I was thorough with that. Apart from that, he asked a lot of questions on DSA as well. He asked me like two problems, and I both of them were like string based, like string and array based. So that was how the coding went on, and I wasn't asked to like run the code. I was just asked to write down the code and
Pseudocode.
yeah, pseudocode, and explain the process and try to like optimize the solution. So that was how the coding went. And then late in the last, he also asked me a system design question, which is actually not expected in a
For freshers.
yeah
Yeah.
graduate interview. So I actually did prepare for a few system design questions because I went through a lot of visas previous year asked questions, and there were a few people who did say that you should prepare system design. And so I did my preparation, and he asked me a very basic level of system design. So UR and shortener is very famous. So I was asked that, and I was able to explain like on a high level because I still was a fresher and he didn't expect much. So that was the second round of interview where he asked me questions in a wide range of topics. After that round, I was also told that I'm going to the third round. The third round is usually managerial round, right? So in the third round, I was matched with a manager who was really cool and exciting. So I enjoyed my third round of interview. He started off with asking me very basic level questions about myself and what do I like and stuff like that. And then we also went into details of some technical topics regarding security, encryption, and authorization, because Visa is something which also needs a lot of security. And yeah, so he did ask me a lot of questions based on that. And he was not really looking for answers. He was looking for a person who would actually give it a, and even though you don't know an answer, you're going to try and learn what it actually is. So I think the third round also went pretty good for me. I gave my best, and the interviewer was also very helpful. So that was mostly the overview of how the interview experience was for me.
Nice, nice. So in a nutshell, you can say they asked a little bit of everything, right? System design, CS fundamental,
Yeah,
and you can say that DSA was the most important part of the interviews overall for everyone,
yeah,
right?
yeah. DSA is definitely the first step that will get you into the interview. So yeah, that's important.
In most of the product-based companies, not just Visa, right?
Yeah.
As you might know, cracking a product-based company requires a lot of skills. And let me tell you a great place where you can get all of the necessary skills. And the place I'm talking about is Cryo. So Cryo is basically a platform where you can upskill yourself and get all the necessary skills like DSA, development, and everything else like system design to crack the top product-based companies. And the great thing about Cryo is that they have a learning-based approach. So they won't smother you with theory, but they'll make you make some really cool projects that will bring a shine to your resume and make you learn some good development. Apart from that, their placement stats also look pretty good, and they have average package of 11 LPA and average super dream package of 21 LPA, which is pretty decent. So if you are someone who wants to crack the top companies, then you can check the link from the description. There's a discount going on right now. Don't miss it and check it out from the description box. So yeah, definitely that is important. Now, speaking of projects, you mentioned that you had React, and that kind of helped you, match the vibe with the interviewer because they were also from React. So, do you think for a fresher it matters what kind of tech stack do they have while applying for a company like Visa, or do you think it doesn't matter? Like, how is it?
So honestly, it doesn't matter. The only thing was that I had done those projects, and that's why it vibed with the interviewer. But there were also other students with me who were interviewing, and it didn't matter much. They were asked only DSA questions. It's just that if you have something on your resume, make sure that you are
Hmm, correct.
good with it and you know what you're doing, just not like copying YouTube tutorials. So try to actually go into deep and do what interests you, but also since all the companies need DSA, you have to do DSA. But if you're passionate about something, go on, do that as well.
Correct, correct. That's very true, and there's an important point to be made here. Like DSA you need for cracking OA, that is absolutely must. But in interviews, I've noticed a lot of times if you have DSA in your resume, they'll ask you DSA. And if you have projects in your resume, then they'll ask you projects. So there it doesn't matter that much what you're focused too much on, but rather what you're passionate about. Because the interview is also human, right? He'll be able to see what you're passionate about, and then you'll be able to have a good vibe with the interviewer. So can you tell us a bit about your projects? Like what kind of projects were there? What kind of projects did you make?
So honestly, like it was completely personal projects, all of them. I was just trying out web development because that was the hype that time. So in my first year, I just did very simple projects of HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And moving on to second year, I had a mentor who helped me learn React. So after learning React, I did a few personal websites and tried to make a portfolio on using React. And then I kind of try to just do simple websites which would try to use an API calling.
Right.
It's just a basic stuff so that you understand what that particular framework is about. That's what I focused on. I didn't make some great websites. I would say I made websites to help me learn. So yeah, and then there was a point where I also wanted to learn how do video calls work. So that was one of my projects. I made a video calling service and understood what all the WebSocket stuff is. So it's just all curiosity stuff. I didn't have a goal to achieve. I was learning and made some simple projects on the way. Yeah.
Nice. And I think that is the best, right? Instead of just, going by the project that you first ideate the project, then do everything. It's also good if you're learning and then you make small projects for you to just get the point of those implementation, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good strategy for anyone learning development that, you can take from Krishna. So apart from development, like you said, DSA was also pretty important. They had DSA question, pretty much medium to hard questions type they had. So how did you prepare DSA? What was your DSA preparation like?
So, like I said, I had a mentor from my second year itself, and he already told me that it's better if you start DSA from your second year. So, I was a person who was studying all my second year summer vacation, and the 2 months that I grinded doing lead code, that really gave me an upper hand. So, I did a lot of questions. I don't know a number, but every single topic, every single data structure, I would do at least like 40 to 50 questions in that particular thing. And then, like, every single day, I would keep revising all the concepts, all the patterns, and then keep, like, even after the summer vacation was done, I would try to keep up with the number, although it was very difficult with the college going on. But at least, like, 5 questions a day was the goal. So I would say start early. So if you start, you will be able to, get it until your placement season starts, which is in fourth year. So until then, you have a lot of time. So start doing that DSA. That's what I did. And then even in the third year summer vacation, I was doing an internship, but along with the internship, I was also doing DSA. So I think I didn't do competitive programming at all. I was doing only data structures and algorithms. And yeah, I think it really interested me, and that's why I could keep going. Every single question that I saw was actually like a new concept to learn, a new pattern. So that would register in my mind, and I would try to find more problems of similar patterns so that when the actual time comes, I will be able to recognize the pattern. So the goal is not to like once you start, you need to know everything. The goal is to keep doing a lot of problems, and you will start understanding patterns. So that's what I.
Right, right. And I'm very glad that you said that, that you were also doing it thinking that it's interesting. A lot of people do it thinking it's a chore, something that they have to do. And then they get very easily frustrated, they go off track, and it's very difficult to maintain consistency. But if you look at it as an interesting thing, that you're learning this new concept, then you can practice new problems on that concept, then it'll be very easier to make that consistency. And I think DSA is just a game of solving problems and maintaining that consistency, revision. These three things, if you do, you don't need competitive programming, right? Only these three things will be enough to pretty much crack majority of the companies.
Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, so Krishna, on a final note, to all of the people who are watching this video who also want to crack a company like Visa, what advice would you like to give them?
So I would say I was one of y'all, and it was really difficult for me as well in the beginning when I started off and seeing everyone getting like Google, Microsoft. I was like, am I going to get a good company? And then actually, that craze actually went away from my head. So it's not to get only those companies. You can get any kind of IT company, and it will be a good start for you. So keep trying, keep doing data structures and algorithms. And apart from that, if you're also interested in development, go ahead, pursue it, because I mean, that is also going to be really helpful in your work actually if your team uses development stuff, because it is helpful for me now. And like, don't give up. It's going to be really hard at times, but if I can do it, everyone can. So that's one note.
Exactly. Right, right. And eventually you'll get there. Might not be immediately. For some people, it happens immediately, but for some people, it takes time. But eventually you'll get there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. Right. So that's some wonderful advice right there from Krishna. And if anyone wants to ask anything specific or anything like that, then I've given Krishna's LinkedIn in the description. You guys can follow from there. She creates some amazing content on there as well. So make sure that you give her a follow. So thanks a lot, Krishna, for coming on my channel, sharing your journey with me and my subscribers. I hope to help a lot of students. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashish.